Oh, every year at this time of year, we have to set our clocks back, and then the big debate happens, and then some of us are affected a great deal, especially when it comes to our sleep. What can we do about it? How can we have a smooth transition? Well, Kim Davis has the answer. She is a certified pediatric sleep consultant with Babes and Beyond. Kim, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Did you enjoy your extra hour of sleep?
I sure did. I sure did.
Let's talk about, I mean, this is a debate. Everyone has a personal opinion on it. When it comes to daylight savings time, like, should we even be bothering to do it? I mean, what's your opinion?
Well, I would love to get rid of daylight savings, but I'm not in charge of this whole thing. When there's so many parents that just get so distraught about, whether we're going back or whether we're going forward, because so many things are affected by this 1 hour. And you think about it, you're like, 1 hour, how can it really affect a lot of things? But it does, especially with little ones. And if you think about the background as to why it even started, it was actually back, during World War I, when the whole introduction was because they wanted to conserve coal, the use of coal. So now you're thinking, okay, well, we don't use coal anymore, and what is this big impact? And research is showing that there's such a very small, like, significant change in the outgoing or the output or even the usage of electricity. And the debate is like, do we even keep it now? Like, why are we still doing this? Because it can affect people so much.
Well,
right?
let's talk about that effect, Kim. So what effect, why do parents struggle so much, especially parents with little ones?
Yes, they struggle so much because our internal body clock, so our circadian rhythm, it works based on the light and the darkness. But our little ones, they don't go by the clock on the wall.
Right.
They're still going by their internal clock. So regardless of what the time says on the wall, they're still going to wake up when they want to wake up. So if you have a very early riser, so what I would consider early riser would be anything around 5 o'clock, right? Or
Okay.
before 6 o'clock. If you have an early riser already, adding that extra hour into the mix, and now you're going to even make them rise at 4 o'clock in the morning. Parents lose their minds.
No kidding. So how do parents then sort of have a smoother transition when it comes to that hour?
Right. So simple, easy fix. Start a few days before, about 4 days before, I recommend, and do it in 15 increments. So you would increase your day or your daily activities by 15 minutes. So let's say if it was bedtime and we had bedtime of, say, 6:45 each night, in order to get to the new timing, we'd push bedtime 15 minutes later to ease your little one into that transition. Because sometimes when you go from like 0 to nothing, it can really backfire, and parents really struggle with that hour. And I know it doesn't seem much, but doing that slow transition can really help parents and little ones to adjust to the time change.
You mentioned circadian rhythms, and I think many people have heard the term. I just wonder if you could explain it a little further.
Sure, that's our internal body clock. So our circadian rhythms are based on the sunlight and the daylight, and everybody's is different. So, it can shift a little bit, but when it comes to sleep, that's when we have to be very mindful of our own circadian rhythms, because you can't force your body to sleep, right? Especially if you have jet lag, like if you've experienced that going through time zones. You have your own internal body clock and when it needs to sleep. And so when we shift the timings of everything, this is when you see that huge struggle for parents and for little ones. Like for myself, I'm off, right, a little bit today still, but I find that the one in the spring, it takes me a little bit longer to adjust to. And I know it's just an hour, but it's interesting, how it does that.
Does each sort of age group, do we all need a different length of sleep, different type of sleep?
Absolutely. Some families are like, oh, my little one's doesn't need as much sleep. The National Sleep Foundation does give recommendations in regards to like how much sleep each age group needs. For adults, we're looking at about 8 hours. But again, that depends on your body. So if you function really well and you're healthy and strong and you're only getting 7.5, then that recommendation of 8 is not for you. So you really have to go of how you're actually feeling and how your day is going. If you can concentrate, if your health, you're eating properly, all those sorts of things, perhaps you can function on little sleep. But I think our society now is, we kind of have like a badge of honor of like, oh, I'm just so rush all the time and I'm not getting enough sleep. But in actual fact, you need that
Yeah.
sleep, right? That's
And you're
nothing
right.
that you should mess
You're
with
so
at
right.
all.
Like, where there's this idea, go is a great idea, and I need very
Yes.
little sleep, and that's certainly not the case. Kim, thanks so much for joining us. A real pleasure to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you.
All right, take care. Hey, if you're moving, perhaps you'd like to know what businesses are in your neighborhood. We'll be back with that after this.